I'm Dr. Dona Cooper, board certified internal medicine physician. And today, I want to have a conversation that I think is long overdue. A conversation that I believe needs to happen, not just in doctors' offices, but in homes, in family, in communities like ours. We are talking about weight today. Now, if you tensed up a little when I said that, I understand. Most people do, because the conversation around weight in our culture has not been kind. It has been filled with judgment, with shame, with the message that if you just tried harder, if you just had more discipline, your body would be different. And I am here today to tell you that is not the whole truth. Obesity is not a character flaw. It is not a willpower problem. It is a metabolic, hormonal, physiological condition. Let's start at the beginning. For decades, the message around weight has been simple. Eat less, move more, calories in, calories out. And if you're overweight, the implied message is clear. You're simply consuming too much and moving too little. Now, I want to be honest with you. Energy balance is real. The basic physics of it exists. But the way it has been applied, the way it has been communicated to patients, is a gross oversimplification of a deeply complex biological system. And that oversimplification has caused an enormous amount of harm. Because here is what that message leaves out. It leaves out the hormones. It leaves out the metabolic adaptation. It leaves out the way the body, when it perceives threat, fights back against every attempt to change it. Let me explain what is actually happening. When you're carrying excess weight, particularly around the abdomen, your body's hormonal regulation is already disrupted. Insulin, the hormone we talked about in episode 1, is elevated. And chronically elevated insulin does not just affect blood sugar. It also affects fat storage. When insulin is high, your body receives a very clear signal. Store this. Hold on to this. Do not release it. So you can reduce what you eat, and your body, still receiving that storage signal, will slow your metabolism to compensate. It will reduce your energy expenditure to match your reduced intake. Your body is not trying to work against you. It is trying to protect you. It is doing exactly what it was designed to do in an environment it was never designed for. That is not a willpower failure. That is biology. I want to introduce you to a hormone called leptin, because understanding leptin changes the way you understand hunger entirely. Leptin is produced by your fat cells. Its job is to travel to the brain, specifically to the hypothalamus, and deliver a message. The message is, we have enough energy stored. You are full. You can stop eating. In a healthy metabolic state, that system works beautifully. You eat, leptin rises. The brain receives the signal, appetite decreases. Simple, elegant. But in people with obesity, something goes wrong with that signaling. The brain stops responding to leptin's message. The receptors become resistant, and so even when there's plenty of stored energy, even when leptin levels are actually high, the brain never fully receives the signal that you are full. It keeps receiving the message, we need more food, we are not satisfied. This is called leptin resistance, and it means that the hunger you experience, the cravings, the feeling that something is always missing after a meal is not weakness. It is a broken signal. Your brain is not getting the memo. And here is what is particularly important. Leptin resistance and insulin resistance tend to travel together. They reinforce each other, addressing insulin resistance through food, through movement, through metabolic healing. Now let's talk about ghrelin. If leptin is the stop eating hormone, ghrelin is the start eating hormone. It rises before meals, triggering hunger, and it falls after eating, signaling satisfaction. In people who have lost weight through severe restriction alone without addressing the metabolic root, something concerning happens with ghrelin. It stays elevated even after the weight has come off. Ghrelin remains high. The body continues signaling hunger, pushing the person to eat back to their previous weight. This is not a character flaw. This is the body's biological drive to survive. And then there is cortisol, the stress hormone we have visited before in this series. Chronic stress, chronic cortisol elevation directly promotes fat storage, particularly in the abdominal region. The belly fat that so many of my patients struggle with most is often heavily influenced by chronic stress. And here is the cruel irony: the stress of trying to lose weight, the shame of feeling like you have failed, the pressure of dieting, all of that raises cortisol, which promotes fat storage, which makes the weight harder to lose, which increases shame, which raises cortisol again. Do you see the cycle? It is not a moral cycle. It is a physiological one, and breaking it requires addressing the whole picture, not just the plate. There is one more concept I want to give you before we move on. It is called the set point. Your body has a weight range it considers safe, a range it has adapted to, and it will defend that range aggressively using every metabolic tool available to it. When you drop below that set point rapidly through restriction, the body mounts a counterattack. Metabolism slows, hunger intensifies, cravings escalate, energy drops. The body is essentially doing everything in its power to bring you back to the weight it knows. This is why so many people lose weight and regain it, not because they lacked discipline, but because they were fighting their own biology with a strategy that was never designed to win long term. The approach that actually works, the one I've seen work in my practice over 30 years, is not about fighting the body. It is about shifting the metabolic environment so gradually, so sustainably, that the set point itself moves. So the body begins to defend a healthier weight because it has adapted to a healthier state. That takes time, it takes consistency, and it takes the right support, but it is absolutely possible. If what I just described sounds like something you have been living, the cycle, the frustration, the feeling that your body is working against you, I want you to know there is a better way. The MyBestHealthPal Guided Transformation Program was built specifically for this. It is not a diet, it is a physician-guided, comprehensive wellness experience that addresses your metabolic health from the root. Nutrition, movement, sleep, stress, all of it together with real support. Visit MyBestHealthPal.com to learn more and get started. Real guidance, a real plan, and a real path forward. The weight loss follows the healing, not the other way around. And that reframe from I am trying to lose weight to I am healing my metabolism changes everything. It changes what you eat. It changes how you move. It changes how you talk to yourself when a hard day happens, because you're not fighting your body anymore. You are working with it.